fine company.
Assalamu alaikum. Peace be upon you, to all our listeners. We now have the pleasure to talk to Qaanitah Hunter, a woman in journalism, a powerful woman in journalism. She's a columnist with News 24, writes for various publications, and a commentator on social justice issues wherever they are needed. Today, we're talking to Qaanitah about the move by Rob Herzog, using the Trumpian aura and the mega changes that Trump is effecting, of course, against the poor and working people of the world. But Herzog basically, in a tweet, announced that he's going to approach a few billionaires outside South Africa to fund a project to unseat the ANC and its ideology. We'll also fight against any alternative that may come, the MK Party, Action SA, EFF. He also, Qaanitah, says that he wants people to subscribe to News 24. So basically unsubscribe to News 24 and stop reading the Daily Maverick. I'm a bit surprised because I've taken the Daily Maverick to the press council a number of times personally. Basically, his aim is he regards those as not being radical enough for the right-wing cause. And he also says that he will establish a platform called the Truth Report. Now, I think that Trump has got his own media group, something called Truth Out or something like that. And that he'll do battle against anyone who wants to talk about transformation. But he wants to bring about 10 podcasters, right-wing podcasters together. The question I asked yesterday on the national radio is, what is the response of the left? I made a call. And I mean the left in a very broad sense, social justice activists. How should we respond to this? Because it's clearly the strategy that Trump and Orban has been using in Hungary, what they've been using in Poland, is a strong right-wing reaction to anything that stems of liberalism or progressivism. So, Qaanitah, the question was a bit long, but it was necessary to put our listeners in focus. Could you take a bite?
Yeah, thank you very much for having me. I think that there's an interesting mood in South Africa and in the world, and there is this bravery that comes that is accompanied by this almost white supremacist type of attitude. And there's two reasons why this is having a moment of power. I think the first is in South Africa, the failures of the ANC government has empowered those who are frankly racist and right wing to have a voice, and they have now found sympathy with the MAGA movement in the US, and it's setting its sights on South Africa. So where you are now is these individuals like Rob Herzog, and there are many of them, have realized that before these sentiments would be expressed in corners, behind closed doors, at dinner parties. Now it's perfectly okay to express these sentiments quite publicly and mobilize around it, realizing that they can use their financial muscle to influence public narrative. And so what Rob Herzog is suggesting is a blitz of right-wing thought in public narrative so that it can capture people and it can become okay. Whereas before, if someone dared to say that transformation policies were not okay, it would be seen as taboo. Now it's part of the mainstream narrative.
Qaanitah, it's very funny you say that. I've been in the unions before, where I'm now, and I remember when the changes took place in '94. Every government bureaucrat with a sunset clause, white guy, would have a copy of the RDP next to them. It was the new Quran that they had to show that they were committed to change. And as you say, now they in your face, they don't care. I also remember African Americans used to have the saying to say, when you want to hide something from black people, put it in a book. These guys are not hiding it. It's in your face. But how do we respond? We've got the Progressive International trying to support South Africa, parliamentarians of 100 other countries. We've got small pockets. We've got Salam Media. We've got this radio that it doesn't seem that we have the same gravitas with this guy's big bucks.
Mm. So, so what is actually at play? What's actually at play is a move to unmask and to be clear about right wing agenda and in complete opposition to anything that stands for transformation. Rob Herzog was also recorded as saying that white people excel in academics and competition, and it's for this reason that black people are afraid, and therefore that's why there is BE, and that white people are thriving despite BE. So there's this 30 years after democracy, there is this rekindling of apartheid hangover syndrome, if you like. And so now the focus is, and I think the opportune moment is because of the rising push to the right globally and the failures of the left, quite frankly, in South Africa, it's created the most opportune moment now to say, how do we capture political dialogue, right? So he says it must be done through AfriForum and the Democratic Alliance. How do you capture, the advocacy lobby groups through IRR and the Open Society Foundation, or whatever he cited, and then the battle being at public narrative stage, which is let's throw money behind podcasters because podcasters can get away with saying anything, unlike the traditional media. My apologies.
No.
And so the idea then is a continuation of what you see in the US, where your Joe Rogans, etc., are given a massive platform to be part of this sort of fight back campaign, if you like. And so this is really, consistent with this global anti-woke, essentially anti-transformative agenda that has just become extremely brave and extremely front-facing. And the tragedy of this moment is that all of the inefficiency and the corruption that has happened in the ANC government over the last 30 years have justified racists in their positions. And now it's sort of the facade has come off, and it's as clear as day. Anyone that would suggest anything that's seems to be transformative. And let's not forget, what does our constitution say up front? Our constitution says that we have to right the wrongs of the past. And how do we do that? We do that through transformation agendas, transformation legislation. South Africa is still the most unequal society in the world. And so to have this public narrative is the continuation of this false white victimhood that white people have thrived despite this, onslaught of BE. They've never suffered under BE because
Yeah.
uh,
It never worked.
empirically, they are the owners of the means of production. They
Right.
are,
Continue.
and I mean, this is not me and you opining. This is the facts. And so what worries me is that there no longer is this facade of a commitment to South Africa, and it is a sense of we have to fight back, if you like. And what's the we that's fighting back? That unfortunately smells, tastes, looks like white supremacy.
Qaanitah, I think I've got one or so more questions left before we end. You raise a very, very important point, but it's not only relating to South Africa, about how progressive forces, the Labour Party in the UK, have been denuded of anything that represents the working class. The Democratic Party tried to beat Trump, and they could not beat Trump by being Trump. So it's not just about the ANC not doing what it has done. All progressive forces and this the this reaction to anything that appears to be about justice, diversity, inclusion is a reaction globally. I thought us who are progressive, I come from the unions, that an injury to one is an injury to all. You know, I worked in the NGO movements, etc. I thought we were the internationalists. They are the internationalists. Their links are so strong, and the Hungarian example was very inspirational to Trump. The Hungarian Civic Alliance, called Fidesz, has actually shown how to attack the judiciary, how to attack mainstream media, while propping up these other media groups to take the space of a media that has not worked fully to include others. So I want to have a little bit of your take there, because these twin attacks on the judiciary and the media seem to be part of their platform. In America, the judiciary is going to be white forever, right? In South Africa, they haven't touched our judiciary yet, but the media has been weakened. And could you weigh in on some of that?
Yes, I think it's a continuation of an attack on democracy because democracy appeared to have stood in the way of, powerful people sort of just exercising their power without any restraint. And so the global shift is towards oligarchies, towards oligarchs, wanting to have unfettered power themselves. And so you
That's
see
right.
the sort of wannabes here in South Africa try to do the same, try to use their influence in politics, influence and wealth first to buy politics. And then when they see that this doesn't work, they want to get into the ring themselves. And so you're
Yeah,
seeing this all over. It is terrible to watch, but at the end of the day, it's also the failure of the systems. It's again, it's a rinse and repeat strategy that we've seen in the US. And again, this targeting of the media is not a it's consistent to the Elon Musk playbook. It's consistent to the Donald Trump playbook, in a way that says let's completely weaken mainstream media for they dare criticize us, and let's prop up anything that could, that would sing our praises and promote our interest without, any responsibility to free and fair journalism. And so the fight is yes against the media, and yes it may be against the judiciary, but actually it's a deeper discomfort with democracy in itself.
that's right.
And this is an effort to say, how do we strip countries like South Africa, the US, the UK, of parts of its democratic identity that is unsuitable for us and our pursuit of amassing wealth and power.
And that means don't fight for the weaker ones. Don't fight for Palestine. Don't fight for justice in the Congo. Just bow down to kiss the ring of the powerful. And Trump wants to be the new emperor, because that's the thing of breaking down all the accountability, the checks and balances. And it may come back to bite America in the long run as the water gets polluted and people die. But I think by that time the damage would be done. Anyhow, Qaanitah, you want to add a last word, and I want to thank you for coming. I know you've got a lot of other things to do, and you made time for us. Any
Thank
last
you very
words?
much. No, I think that there has to be a conversation, especially in the media realm, about what we have to do to not you know, kowtow to this or succumb to the instinct of trying to appease people like Rob Herzog. And how do you what his attack on Merrick and News 24 is based on what? It's based on the fact that, probably they once did criticize him, or the fact that they're not, unrelentingly singing
Praises, yeah?
his praises. And so the idea here, and I mean, we're talking about Rob Herzog because that's what he said, but there are
That's right.
many Rob Herzogs, and there are many people who believe that, it's our time now, kind of this fake victimhood, and its effort to mobilize people on the right to fight back. And I think it's extremely dangerous for society. And I don't think we realize what the cost would be. And I hope that realization doesn't come when it's too late.
So clearly, we're talking about some kind of reorganization of society. The unions must again play the role they played historically against apartheid. Civic groups must come together. Regulation of these internet service providers. So there's a
I don't
long
know. I
agenda.
don't know if any of that is possible, and I don't know if the unions can come together. I think I
I
don't
work
share
on the
your
inshallah.
optimism.
If I have the inshallah effect, eh? So really, we have to keep.
I don't have that optimism with the unions. I've been covering trade unions for a very long time, and
Yeah.
we've only seen the dwindling of it. And again, that was as a result of capital and money coming into the fray. So I hear your optimism, but I don't know if I share it
No,
in
it's
this
the
regard.
optimism of the will. That's the reason why I woke up this morning, because I have to believe, otherwise I'll be sleeping. Thanks a lot, Qaanitah. You've really, really helped us to think about it. But this will be podcasted so that we put the challenge to the unions. I mean, I used to put out a newspaper for the teachers union and it numbered 200,000 copies we used to produce. It's a long time ago. But anyhow, the inshallah effect. Ojalá, they say in Spanish. But yeah, well, let's have hope. Thank you very much for coming. Uh, Qaanitah, we talk soon.
Shukran.
You at Hassan.